Welcome back to our mini walking tour. My name is Rachel Goldberg and I'm the Programs and Events Coordinator at the Manassas Museum. Today I'm coming to you from the Southern Railway Depot. The depot sits right across the street from the museum on Prince William Street, sort of faces the museum. The history of the train here in Manassas is sort of inextricably tied to the history of Manassas itself. Early on, the city really came up, the town of Manassas came up around the railroad that was here. But surprisingly, there was not a depot in the area until 30 years after the Civil War. So it was just a small log structure east of where we are right now. And as the train service expanded, the town needed a larger building. So this building was built by Southern Railway in 1904 and served the city in a number of ways, not only bringing people and businesses to the area, but also allowing local farms and businesses to distribute their products up and down the East Coast. We even know that the candy factory was sending candy and salesmen as far west as Louisiana using the train. So this depot served the city in a number of different ways. Unfortunately, it burned down in 1914, but almost immediately a new depot was built right on its foundation. And it's the building that we see today is the building that was rebuilt on that original 1904 foundation. The building was renovated in 1997 and again for its 100th birthday in 2014. This building is a classic example of segregation architecture. The building itself was built largely by African American laborers who were doing a lot of the work to construct the building, but probably couldn't even use the facilities that were located inside the building, as most public facilities were strictly segregated by race at that time. The depot, if you look at it from the outside, is broken up into 4 different parts. On the very far end, there was what was originally the white waiting room, and that area included the restrooms. There was then a black waiting room that I believe later became the ladies' waiting room. And then in the middle, what's now the Manassas Visitor Center, was originally the Ticketmaster's offices. And then at the far end, what is now today, pardon the truck, what is now today the Historic Manassas Inc.'s offices used to be luggage rooms. So that's where they would have stored the luggage before people boarded the trains. So just to go back in time a little bit to tell you about the importance of the train to Manassas. So it was the train that really brought the Civil War to Manassas. The key to the train here is that it was home to both the Orange and Alexandria line, which was the North-South Railroad, and the Manassas Gap Railroad, which was the East-West. So during the Civil War, Manassas became a key strategic location for both Northern and Southern armies. This area was the junction between the Orange and Alexandria Railroad, which was north-south, and the Manassas Gap Railroad, which ran east-west. And so because it was Manassas also sits halfway between what was then the southern capital of the United States, Richmond, and the northern capital of the United States, D.C. It was an incredibly strategic location for both North and South during the Civil War. So beyond the Civil War, the train has continued to bring people, business, all sorts of things to the city. Today, freight still comes through here. It no longer stops to unload here, but it comes through the area, and it takes commuters, down south as well as back up north to Washington, D.C. One of Manassas's earliest commuters was Albert Speeden, who lived just a couple of blocks away over on Battle Street, and this urban legend goes that he would wait at home until he heard the train coming, and then he'd haul out the door at a sprint to hop on the train to his DC office. and he was one of Manassas's earliest commuters. If you come to the museum, you can actually see his commuter pass, his train ticket pass in the main gallery in the museum. So that is all I have for you today, talking about the trains of Manassas and the railway depot. I look forward to seeing you next time for our mini walking tour.